My symptoms started 12 years ago. It's mostly pelvic floor type pain. I've been very active during all of this. It hasn't infringed on my activity at all, but it has infringed on my quiet time. It's very difficult for me to just enjoy sitting, reading a book, sitting by the pool, anything that involves just being quiet, sitting on the sofa, going to bed. And so that's been distressful for me because we need to have our downtime, our quiet time. And without it, you don't feel like you get recharged. And so even though I'm able to do almost everything and anything that I want to do, I don't get that recharging time. And that's where it's really affected my quality of life the most. I started out actually reading John Sarno's books probably a year after my symptoms started. I found out about John Sarno. It really resonated with me that this was a mind-body issue. It was not just a physical issue. So I've done that. And I continue to do certain things to this day, such as meditation and yoga, obviously staying active. I've followed numerous people on Facebook and on Instagram, including Nicole Sachs. And I continue to follow some of those people also. I did meet with sort of a life coach, I think she called herself, but she had struggled with pelvic floor pain and had found some relief. So I did like an 8-week online workshop with her via Zoom. I mean, the list goes on and on, the things that I've tried to make myself feel better. And I've really had limited results with most things that I've tried. It really hasn't affected my family or my children at all. And mostly because I don't have a pain in my neck or a pain in my back that you can actually sort of see in a sense by the way I move or do things. I literally have a pain in my pelvic floor. And that's not something that I'm really willing to talk about most of the time. So I don't talk about it. So I actually live my life like I don't have ongoing pain on a daily basis. I don't talk about it. I don't let it affect what I do. I think the only person that it really has some effect on is my husband, obviously, because when I don't get the ability to recharge at the end of the day, I'm tired. I mean, part of it's I'm 65, but the other part of it is that, it's fatiguing to be doing, maybe 3 or 4 or 5 things at once. So I'm trying to live my life. I'm trying to do things around the house. I'm trying to stay active, and I'm trying to deal with how I feel. And so it's exhausting. And I think that he has, he sees that in me, and it's painful for both of us. I found Dan on YouTube. I was cruising through YouTube looking for that next person that might help me. And I came across one of his podcasts, one of his videos that he was recording. And honestly, I just felt like he was speaking to me. And he seems to have that ability that when he's delivering a message that he is speaking directly to you. And I think that partly his ability to do that is because he's had the same struggles that everyone that is seeking his help or seeking some sort of help has had. And so he understands you and he speaks to you. He speaks to your brain, he speaks to your heart, he speaks to your soul. And it means so much just to hear him speaking and talking. Alleviating pain is a journey. It's not a one and done. It's not oh, I saw this and I'm going to feel better tomorrow. So working with Dan, I am on a journey with him. It's an amazing journey. It's a journey of a lot of self-discovery. I recognize my thought process so much more than I ever did before. I see how I'm thinking, and I hear Dan's voice inside of my head sometimes. It seems a little crazy, but I hear his voice inside of my head sometimes, or I see some of his work from the seminar that I took, or from the columns that I work in, or from the groups that I work in. And I hear it inside of myself and I go, I know what I'm doing. And I think by beginning to recognize how I'm thinking primarily is really a huge step in the first part of this journey towards healing. I love how he says this, that we need to embrace our trauma, the fullness of our trauma. And I never really understood that before. I mean, why would I want to embrace my trauma? I want to run as far away from it as I possibly can. And part of that was through the core narrative that he had us writing, the three paragraphs in the core narrative, you know, who I am, what happened to me, and where I want to be in the future. And by the future, I mean, you know, now or tomorrow, but where I want to be. And by accepting the fullness of my trauma, that's the beginning of saying, I have self-empathy for myself. I matter. I have value. I think Dan said one time that I don't think I can articulate 100% the way he said it, but there's so much more value within you than from without. That you trust yourself. You need to trust yourself more than you need to trust others. And I think by just embracing and accepting the fullness of my trauma, that I'm doing that for myself. And he taught me that, and no one else did. Working within the column system, between emotions, doubt, and the power column, I noticed this week, because I'm experiencing some situations that are emotionally very difficult, I usually just have one symptom. It's my pelvic floor, and it sort of goes up and down a little bit. And I recognize when it goes up and down a little bit that I'm in the doubt column. I'm like, oh, you know, I'm tired this week. I'm working hard this week. So I know my symptoms are going to be worse this week because I'm not getting the rest I need. And I know that's doubt. So when I start thinking like that, I go right to the doubt column, and I can counter that with different thoughts. This week, I'm in Buffalo at my daughter's house because my son-in-law had major surgery, and I developed a new symptom this week. I was like, oh, it took me a couple of days to figure it out. I was like, what is that? I guess like this periorbital paresthesis, you know, little like numbness around my lips. And I thought, what is that? And all of a sudden I heard Dan go, onset of a new symptom, emotions column. And I went, of course it's emotions column. Of course I'm feeling that way. I'm taking care of a 4 and 2-year-old when my daughter's at the hospital with my son-in-law, and I feel a little bit out of control. I feel a little bit anxious. The children are talking nonstop. Oh my gosh, it's totally emotions column. And I discovered that last night, and I feel better today because I know where it came from without knowing where. And that was part of the problem with some of these other programs that I've tried. There wasn't, you know, the yellow brick road to follow towards why are my symptoms the way they are right now? So I have a roadmap, and that's hugely helpful for me. In the power column, that's where I'm working on embracing the fullness of my trauma. You know, power column just doesn't mean, oh, I'm powerful. It means more of accepting yourself, loving yourself, caring about yourself. If someone came to me and said, oh, I have excruciating back pain, or I have this horrible pain in my neck, my first thought goes to mind body. I go mind body right away. And then I wonder to myself, what happened to this person? What emotion, what doubt? I go right to the columns when I think about these people now. It's just automatic. And so I actually have said to people, have you considered that your situation, your symptoms might be mind body? I said, and I would say, I'm a full believer in mind body. Maybe you want to read John Sarno. And I would start there. And the next thing I would say to them is, if you need a roadmap, if you need someone who's going to be there because he truly is, if you need someone who's going to be there for you, who is in your corner, who, if you send them an email, because I have sent him emails and he has responded with incredible kindness. If you need someone who's going to be in your corner, who's going to show you the way out of the situation, out of the symptoms that you're in currently, then I would definitely recommend Crushing Doubt and Dan Ratner and the groups. The seminars first, because I took the seminar first, and then definitely the groups, because somebody might ask a question that you never thought to ask before, and that's happened to me. And then you go, oh, shoot. You know, I sort of use the analogy of learning to play a sport, like say tennis. You get out in the court and you think, blah, 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 you hit the ball back and forth. And you think, and then you take your next lesson and you think, why didn't they show that to me in the first lesson? Well, you can't learn everything in one lesson, which is why I say this is a journey. It takes multiple lessons, and sometimes it takes me hearing Dan say something 3, 4, 5 times before I completely understand what he's saying. Not that he's not articulating it well, maybe I'm not ready to hear it. So I think those are the reasons why I would say to somebody, try this program, because even though I'm not 100% pain-free, it has helped me 100%.